Appreciate it. We're also trying something new today. You can follow the link in the description, and we're also trying to simultaneously stream live on YouTube as well. So we do have a YouTube channel, Inspired Homes YouTube channel. So follow the link. We'd love to get some people following on that, because we want to get some greater exposure for these wonderful friends that are coming and telling about how and why they follow Jesus. So anyway, if you've never watched Life Inspired before, we do these stories every single Friday morning at 9:30, and we're talking about, most of the time, a turning point. So life is going along in everybody's life, and most people have numerous turning points. And so something happens in a turning point, and either, I don't know, God just kind of gets your attention and turns your trajectory. So we're going to hear about this wonderful mother of 5. Yeah. She has 4 still at home. Mm-hmm. One is in heaven with Jesus. And we thought for Mother's Day it would be a really great thing to have Ashley as our guest. She's works with us at Inspired Homes, mm-hmm. and so she's been on as our guest before, just talking about, you know, that kind of stuff. But we were thinking that maybe Madison's story might bless somebody this Mother's Day. So if you know somebody who's lost a little one, I don't know what all stuff's going to come out of your mouth, Miss Ashley.
I don't either.
So let's think about a backstory maybe the backstory to Madison's journey.
Okay. So, 2003, we had Connor, our mm-hmm. oldest. Mm-hmm. We just married in 2002. We lived in Indy, going along. Got pregnant with Madison, so Connor would have been 3. Ryan just got on the fire department in Indy.
Okay.
So life is great. And then we go to the doctor, and we go to find out if Madison's a girl or a boy.
Oh, fun.
And quite honestly, at that time in my motherhood, I was so enjoying having a little boy.
Yeah.
I was kind of scared of having a little girl.
Really?
And I remember having those thoughts, like, how do I raise a girl in this day of age? Like, can I do that? Am I good enough mom to do that?
Oh.
I don't know. And so, Ryan was in training with the fire department, and my sister-in-law was watching Connor, so I went to the doctor. And the nurse, they do the ultrasound and everything, and the nurse leaves the room, which was kind of odd.
And you've had one before, so you know what the typical appointment was like.
Yes. And the doctor comes back in with her, and she said, well, you're having a girl, but... and I remember thinking, I didn't know, I never imagined that would ever be a but in my pregnancy. I immediately started having fears that I was going to have a girl. Like, that was my first reaction. Like, oh no, I'm going to have a girl. I can't raise a girl. God, what are you doing? I can't do that. And I asked to be excused, and I went to the bathroom, and I was crying my eyes out.
Oh.
And I came back in, and the doctor said, I really think we need to send you to an at-risk doctor right now.
And how far along were you?
I was 17 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
And I said, really? And then the nurse explained that she had water pockets on her brain, that it could be normal. That happens, and babies grow fine. But there were some other things that they saw that they just wanted to make sure mm-hmm. and rule out. Mm-hmm. So I immediately, they called and they got me in. I immediately went to the at-risk clinic. I called Ryan. He's in training. I honestly, everything is such a blur still. Like, mm-hmm. I don't even remember. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I remember walking into the office, and they were already ready for me. And they immediately took me back. And they pulled up the scan of Madison. And they immediately knew that she had trisomy 18. There's certain characteristics mm-hmm. That only are for trisomy 18. There's also trisomy 13. And
trisomy 18 is a birth defect, basically.
It's a chromosome disorder.
And it's pretty rare.
It's very rare. Trisomy 13, babies can have a chance to live outside of the womb. But trisomy 18, they just can't survive outside of the womb. So immediately we start talking about other tests and genetic tests and all these other things going on. Ryan shows up at the clinic. He's drenched. He's been training.
Right.
And we're just kind of in shock. Like, oh
wait,
my,
what? Right.
What?
Connor's
Yeah.
healthy and fine. Why is this little one not?
Yep. And so we go home, and there were a few more appointments, and I don't remember all the details. I just know, I start calling family, and we start processing things. And I think a couple weeks later, we get a phone call from my OBGYN, and she asked me, so when do we need to schedule to abort the baby? And I immediately was like, what? I didn't even, why would I do that? And then she proceeds to tell me, like, she's not going to make it. You're young. Why not get on with your family? She's never going to make it. Why would you even attempt to even hope for her to make it? Right? And my background is, I've always been pro-life. I've started pro-life organizations. I headed up a pro-life organization at my college. Like, there was never a thought in me or a feeling in me that I would ever consider something like that. But I hung up the phone and I immediately thought, yeah, why not? Why put her through that? Why put us through that? Why put my little boy through that? Never would I have imagined I would have those thoughts. Like, and then immediately, I could hear God going, you have no idea how I'm going to use her. Like, why would you stop her story? That's not you. You don't have that control. Like, that's not about you. I have something amazing planned for her story. And so I said, okay. I called my doctor back and I said, you know what? No, we will not choose that. We are not God. We're not going to do that. And she goes, okay, then I'll walk you through this. But you need to know that she will probably not make it past 22 weeks. It's very rare that they do. That's fine. We'll deal with that. Whatever God has. And at that moment, something just, my faith, I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I didn't ask why. I didn't question. I didn't anything. I just started researching and I started looking at pictures. Like, what if she makes it? What if, planning what would that look like if she made it? What is she going to look like? And I started pulling up pictures, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and this is probably a week later. And I'm pulling up pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to look so not normal, right? Like, not normal, like the worst that I could possibly imagine. Like, who, I just couldn't imagine that. And then this peace came over me that I've never experienced. I mean, God says he does that, right? Like, he just, this amazing peace that I've never experienced before, ever since Madison. It just came over me. And from then on, I just, okay, we're going to fight. We're going to do whatever it takes. And we're going to prepare for her if she lives, and we're going to prepare if she passes. And that's what we did. We met with the NICU unit in Indy, met all the doctors that would be in her care, met all the nurses that would be in her care, what it would look like if she's born and she's on life support. We prepared for all of that. We prepared if she passes and she's stillborn, we prepared for that. They have a particular unit in Indy that deals with stillborn and their mothers, and they have special things they do for them. And so I was able to connect with that social worker, and she walked with us through the whole pregnancy, and it was amazing. We met with funeral homes. We planned her funeral. We found a funeral home that was willing to take care of her service for free. And I bought a burial gown for her just in case. But we were still believing that there was a possibility that God could do this, that he could heal her and she'd be okay and she would make it. But so time went on and we prepared. We bought clothes. We shopped as if she was going to make it. And every day, my third trimester, every day, she was growing fine. Her heart looked good. I mean, everything looked great. And every day I would lay down at 4:00 and with Connor, and we would watch a show, and I would feel her kick.
Oh.
And it was every day at 4:00. And I would sit there and tickle my belly, and she would kick it, and we would just sit there for an hour doing that back and forth for 3 months. And so she made it past 22 weeks.
Right.
And I remember at shower time, she would love when the hot water would hit my belly, and I would stand in the shower for hours, just standing there with the hot water hitting my belly, and she would just kick around and play. And so it was St. Patrick's Day parade, and I was 39 weeks, and I was in the shower, and I didn't feel any kicks. And I knew in my heart, like, she was gone. So I immediately called the doctor. We packed up as if we're going to the parade. We were going to go to the doctor before the parade. And we went to the doctor, me, Ryan, and Connor. And there was no heartbeat. But she made it to 39 weeks.
That's crazy.
And it was the most amazing pregnancy, you know? And so I can't imagine not experiencing those moments with her. And I wouldn't take it back for anything. Not at all. And so we immediately began to call family. We called the funeral home. I had to be induced. We planned for that. Immediately I was put in a special, beautiful room at the hospital with this beautiful wicker furniture everywhere for her. They were prepared. It was all the people I had already prepared for her, and they were right there with me. She got to lay in this beautiful wicker bed like an angel. They took at least 300 pictures of her for me, and all her different clothing, and they did, I mean, I came home with a tote of stuff, of memorabilia from the hospital. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And then the cool thing about the whole thing is that we were expecting her to be born with major defects. Major defects.
And she was perfect.
She was perfect. She was absolutely beautiful, perfect, 5 pounds.
Wow.
And she was not supposed to make it past 3.
Wow.
So,
how big is 5 pounds in your hands?
I could hold her in my arms.
So she's like this big or something?
I mean, I could hold her, yeah. I mean, she was normal size, a 5 pound baby. But the only defect she had, trisomy 18, they have club feet and their arms turn in. But that was it. That was it. She resembles the rest of my babies at birth. So we proceeded to have the funeral, and she's buried in Indy in a beautiful, Crown Hill has a cemetery area just for children.
Oh.
And so, and I get to speak to them every year, a few times a year, where they put flowers on her site for me.
Nice.
So, you know, I have people come to me all the time because of my story. The beautiful thing about my story is that I got to plan for her death. It's a completely different experience to not have that opportunity.
Right.
I can't even relate to someone who it's so unexpected to have that.
Right.
I can't even imagine.
They're planning for life, and then they lose.
Yeah.
Them. Right.
And I got to plan for both, you know, so I can't even imagine that heartache and that grief. So I guess we knew what we were going to talk about today. My sweet Madison, right? So so she has a birthday. We celebrate every March 18th. So that's her day.
That's her birthday.
Yep, that's
awesome.
her day.
Yeah. I'm so grateful that, you know, God had us think to have you on Friday before Mother's Day, because, you know, the story is so touching, and Mother's Day is very hard for a lot of women.
Yes.
Women who have had abortions, women who have had miscarriages, women who have had children die at 68. You know, they're 88 and their 68-year-old son or daughter dies, and you know, you're just not supposed to outlive your kids.
Yeah.
And Mother's Day is hard, and Mother's Day I think is also hard for women who wanted to have children and never did. I think that women are born to bear. Yeah. And if you don't have, I just really want to tell you guys, Facebook, if you don't have biological children or adopted children, you have probably birthed something else. You've probably birthed a business or something like that, you know, but we're just born to birth things. But it doesn't have to be human beings that we birth. We can birth other things. And so it's just a message out to all the mothers. Thank you for the things that you've birthed and the children that you've raised if you did have children, and the other things that you've done in your lives. So if you know someone that Mother's Day is beautiful for, touch them this week. If you know someone that Mother's Day is hard for, touch them this weekend. We appreciate that. Thanks for sharing your story. If you'd like to have coffee, if you've experienced something like Ashley's experienced, I want to ask you this one thing too. When you're walking an inspired life, you've got to stay connected to stay inspired. Everybody does that differently. I'm sure we probably asked you when you were a guest, but it's been a long time. So what do you do? How do you stay inspired? How did you stay inspired through all of the pain that you were suffering and stuff?
Oh my goodness.
So what do you do?
I had friends that walked alongside that journey. I have three really, really close friends. One of them is my aunt, and another mentor, my other college best friend. It wasn't a day that did not go by that one of them was not calling me or was not a part of this journey. Awesome. And of course, my husband and my family. So, and I love telling Madison's story. It's just hard because I say that it was God's peace was so amazing, where that isn't the same feeling for a lot of moms who experience that. But it was an amazing experience for me. Heartbreaking, but truly amazing.
So that's the message then. That's what, if you guys know someone that needs to hear Ashley's story and Madison's story, if you'll share this with them, just, share it on, to Facebook or whatever, or on YouTube. With the YouTube link, you can actually email it. So if there's somebody that doesn't watch Facebook, you can email it to them and they can watch it that way. So yeah, and if they want to have coffee with Ashley, just message us here. We'll put them in touch, and she can talk about why she had that peace and how she has that peace. So thanks for watching Facebook, and happy Mother's Day. God bless you.
Yes, we have Jesus from a spirit in heaven.